Let me guess, lately. It feels like stress is winning the battle, doesn't it? You're trying to control every detail, every outcome. But the harder you push, the more it seems like everything falls apart. Am I right? Now, let me ask you something. What if, instead of holding on tighter, you learn to let go? Because, my friend, that's where the real power lies. In this video, I'm going to share something that could change everything: how to manifest what you truly desire, without burning yourself out in the process. Yes, it's possible. And no, I'm not talking about magic tricks or sitting around waiting for things to happen. Today, you're going to discover powerful principles, inspired by Stoic philosophy, that will teach you how to let go of stress, take back control of your life, and, most importantly, attract what you've always dreamed of. I promise you, it's not what you expect, but that's exactly why it works. Are you ready to unlock the power that's already within you? Before we go any further, I want you to step into someone else's shoes for a moment. Let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. Javier was a top executivion of those people who seem to have everything under control. A packed schedule, big decisions to make every day, and constant pressure to never fail. But at what cost? One day, in the middle of an important presentation to his team, something happened that he never saw coming. His body said, "Enough." Out of nowhere. He couldn't move or speak. A panic attack left him completely frozen. Javier, the man who always had an answer for everything, felt vulnerable for the first time in years. In that moment, something inside him screamed, "What am I doing with my life?" On a friend's advice, he did something he'd never imagined. He disconnected. He went to a cabin in the mountains. No emails, no phone calls, just him and the silence. At first, his mind wouldn't stop racing. What's happening at the office? What will people say? But slowly, something began to shift as he walked the trails and listened to the wind through the trees. He remembered a phrase from Marcus Aurelius: "Accept everything that happens, even if it's different from what you expected." And then, as if a fog had lifted, he understood. Javier realized he didn't have to control everything for things to work out. When he returned to the city, he stopped cramming every gap in his schedule with meetings. So what did he do with his free time? He made space for things that mattered, time to reflect, to take care of himself, and to enjoy his family. And here's the most surprising part: when he let go of the need to control everything, things didn't fall apart. In fact, they got better. The atmosphere at work improved. Results skyrocketed. And, for the first time in a long while, he felt at peace with himself. Now, let me ask you, how many times have you felt like Javier, carrying a weight that seems impossible to let go of? Maybe today is the day to say, "Enough," and discover what happens when you let calm work its magic. Are you ready to give it a try? Let's get started. 1. Let go and relax. Imagine you're at the beach. You grab a handful of sand and squeeze it tightly. At first, it feels like you're in control, but the harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Sound familiar? Doesn't it remind you of life? When you try to control everything, trust me, the more you fight to dominate every detail, the faster it all seems to fall apart. And there you are, stuck in a cycle that leaves you exhausted, frustrated, and further away from what you really want. Does that ring a bell? Let's be real, clinging to constant control isn't getting you anywhere. It's like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. What happens? You don't move an inch. All you do is burn out and stay stuck. But what happens when you release that brake? That's right, you move forward with less effort and more ease. And that's exactly what you need to do in life: let go. Now, don't get me wrong. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting the process. And when you you stop holding on so tight, like something amazing happens. Things start to fall into place on their own. Picture this: you're on a family trip. You've planned every detail to perfection. the exact departure time, where to eat, even games to keep the kids entertained. But, of course, nothing goes as planned. There's terrible traffic. It starts pouring rain, and your kids decide it's the perfect moment to throw a tantrum. What do? Do you lose it because the universe isn't following your plan? Or do you accept that some things are beyond your control? Because, my friend, that's life. You can't control traffic, the rain, or tantrums, but you can choose how you react. And this is where Stoicism works its magic. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, left us a timeless lesson: accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart. It's like he's telling you, stop wasting energy flooring the gas pedal while the handbrake is still on. Release it, and you'll move forward with less resistance. Because, at the end of the day, what matters more, that everything goes perfectly, or that you actually enjoy the journey? I get it, this idea of letting go sounds easier said than done. But don't worry, I'm here to help. Let me share 3 simple steps you can start practicing today. Not only will they help you let go, but they'll also prepare you to relax and attract the things you truly desire. First, write your worries down on a piece of paper. Don't overthink it. Just write something like, "Look, I'm trying to control this, but I realize I can't." Then crumple that paper up and throw it away literally. Why? Because it's like telling your mind, this doesn't weigh on me anymore. Second, use the red light pause. Whenever something doesn't go as planned, take a few seconds to breathe. Inhale to a count of 4. Hold it, and exhale to a count of 6. This is your daily reminder that sometimes taking a pause is the only way to move forward. Third, make space in your schedule for nothingies. Nothing. Even if it's just 15 minutes. What can you do? Listen to music, gaze at the sky, or simply enjoy the silence. It's in those moments that your clearest ideas and deepest desires have room to surface. When you stop trying to control every moment, you begin to think clearly and manifest everything you desire. And here's the surprising part: when you learn to let go, life doesn't fall apart like you feared. On the contrary, it starts to take shape. This isn't magic. It's clarity. When you stop wasting energy on things you can't change, you free up mental and emotional space for what truly matters. Now think about it. What if today you chose to let go just a little? Not everything. Just one small step. Stop clinging to the sand. Relax, and let life flow. Trust me, change begins the moment you decide to let go. 2. Start your day strong. Have you ever wondered why some days flow effortlessly, as if everything is working in your favor, while others feel like an impossible uphill climb? It's not magic or luck. Do you know what it comes down to? How you spend the first few hours of your morning. This is when you set the tone for your day. Like tuning an instrument before a concert. Imagine stepping onto the stage without adjusting the strings. It would be a disaster. But if you take a moment to tune them, everything flows in harmony. Right. Every note resonates. Every chord fits perfectly. That's the key. What you do when you wake up not only shapes how you feel, but also how everything else will resonate throughout your day. Doesn't that sound like something worth trying? Let me share a personal experience to show you what I mean. One morning, instead of jumping out of bed and straight onto my phone like I usually did, I decided to switch things up. I sat quietly for a few minutes, took a deep breath, and thought about how I wanted my day to go. Then, instead of letting notifications dictate my mood, I put on my favorite songoni of those tracks that gets you moving no matter what. As I made coffee, I ended up dancing in the kitchen. I won't lie, it felt a little silly at first. But do you know what happened next? That day went better than I could have hoped. Even the little frustrations that usually irritate me felt insignificant. It was as if that initial burst of energy set the tone for everything. Do you know who also understood the power of this? Seneca. He said that every new day is a gift, a blank check we should make the most of. He started his mornings reflecting, writing, and aligning his mind with what truly mattered to him. It wasn't about reacting to the world, but preparing to face it. And you can do the same. Take those early hours and turn them into a space to focus your energy. So how can you start your mornings differently? Let me give you a suggestion before you even touch your phone. Sit down for a moment and take a few deep breaths. Inhale to a count of 4. Hold for a couple of seconds, and then exhale slowly to a count of 6. Do this 3 times. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes. It's like giving your body a moment to start with calm and intention. Next, find something that makes your morning special. For me, it's music. Why not give it a try? Put on a song that inspires you and that makes you want to move. And yes, even if it sounds a little crazy, dance for a few minutes. It doesn't matter if you're alone in the kitchen or getting ready in front of the mirror. You might even laugh at yourself. And that's the point. No one has to see you. But trust me, that burst of energy can transform your entire mood. Here's another idea before leaving the house. Take a moment to think about one thing you want to achieve that day. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it's as simple as enjoying your lunch without rushing, or getting through the supermarket line quickly. These small intentions not only bring clarity, but also become the first steps toward attracting what you truly desire. So tell me, how do you want your mornings to be from now on? Do you want to start in chaos, letting the day drag you along? Or do you want to take control, create your moment, and set the tone for a day that flows in the direction you want? My friend, you don't need a perfect routine or to wake up at the crack of dawn. You just need to start strong, with calm and intention. Remember, every morning is a new opportunity, and how you choose to live it can be the beginning of everything you've ever wanted. Before we continue, if you're finding value in this content, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to access unique benefits. And tell us in the comments what steps you are willing to take to relax and manifest what you truly desire in your life. We want to grow together with you. 3. Your mind. Your best ally. Think of your mind as a puzzle. When all the pieces are scattered and out of place, it's impossible to see the full picture. Everything feels chaotic. But what happens when you take a moment to sort them? You group them by colors, by shapes, and suddenly something magical happens. The picture starts to come together. My friend, that's exactly how your mind works. If it's cluttered with disorganized thoughts, worries, and stress, what can you see clearly? Nothing. But when you give it calm and space, what a relief. That's when everything starts to fall into place. A few years ago, a pilot named Chesley Sullenberger, better known as Sully, faced one of those moments most people would call a nightmare. Picture this: you're in command of a commercial airplane with over 150 people on board. Everything's going smoothly until the unthinkable happens. Both engines fail. After striking a flock of birds, the plane loses power, and all you see ahead is a crowded city and an icy river. What would most of us have done? Panic, without a doubt. But Sully did something different. He closed his eyes for a split second and took a deep breath. In his mind, there was no room for chaos. He visualized what he needed to do: land the plane on the Hudson River without causing a disaster. Was he certain it would work? Not at all. But he trusted his experience, his team, and, most importantly, his ability to stay calm. He manifested it. And do you want to know what happened? While alarms blared and passengers held their breath, Sully spoke in a firm, clear voice: brace for impact. It wasn't just a technical message. It was a declaration of confidence. He was manifesting what everyone needed at that moment: hope that things would turn out okay. Thanks to his calm, focused mind, he achieved something extraordinary. He landed the plane on the river and saved everyone on board. Epictetus was right when he said, "What disturbs us is not what happens, but our thoughts about it." Sully couldn't control the engines or undo what happened with the birds, but he controlled his mind. He turned a chaotic situation into an opportunity to act with clarity and save lives. And that's what we can learn from his story. When you choose to calm your mind, you stop seeing problems and start seeing solutions. So how can you train your mind to be your best ally? You need to learn to organize the pieces of your mental puzzle. Spend 5 minutes a day thinking about all the worries cluttering your mind, like scattered puzzle pieces. But here's the trick. Don't try to solve everything at once. How can you do this without overwhelming yourself? Imagine you're stressed about 3 things at the same time: a tight work deadline, a recent argument with a friend that's still bothering you, and concerns about making ends meet this month. Now think of these worries as puzzle pieces. Take those 5 minutes to sort them. For example, put the work project in one corner, something you can start working on right away, marked in yellow. The argument with your friend goes in another corner, made orange. You know it's something you can resolve later with a call or a message. And your finances? Put that in red and set it aside in a future pieces pouch to deal with when you sit down to review your budget. Suddenly, by separating the pieces and giving them a place, you begin to see things clearly. Not everything is jumbled together, and not everything is fighting for your attention all at once. You might not solve the whole puzzle right then, but something better happens. You no longer feel that overwhelming chaos. Just by doing this, your mind starts to feel lighter, like you're making progress on something that once seemed impossible to handle. Worth trying, isn't it? Remember, when your mind is calm, not only do you feel better, but you also open yourself up to possibilities that once seemed unreachable. Because a clear mind has the power to manifest what you truly desire. Maybe it's time to stop trying to control everything and start trusting more in the strength you already have within you. 4. Do things with calm. Have you noticed? Rushing is like a hot pan with no oil. It just burns everything faster. And the worst part? Nothing turns out the way you wanted. Let me tell you the truth. Calmness isn't slowness. It's strategy. It's doing things at the pace they need to flow smoothly and come out right. Picture this. You're cooking for a special dinner. You've invited friends, and everything is planned. But you get home late and start chopping ingredients in a rush. The vegetables are uneven. Sauce spills everywhere. And, on top of that, the pasta overcooks because you're distracted by the oven. When you serve the dish, it's nothing like what you envisioned. Sound familiar? Now think of the opposite. You give yourself time. You chop the ingredients carefully, enjoying the process. You taste the sauce as it cooks, adjusting the flavors. The pasta turns out perfectly al dente. And the result? Not only is it a delicious dish, but you also enjoyed the experience. Do you think that's just a coincidence? It's not. Rushing doesn't just ruin recipes. It ruins opportunities. And often, we rush because we see others getting everything done, as if life were a race. But listen to me. My friend, everyone has their own rhythm. Comparing yours to someone else's is like trying to make a plant grow faster just by staring at it. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. He said, "The mind is like water. When it's calm, it reflects the world clearly." As an emperor, he had enormous responsibilities on his shoulders. But he didn't tackle everything at once. He reflected, prioritized, and acted with calm. Even in the middle of crises, he kept his mind steady to make wise decisions. It wasn't about doing things faster, but doing them better. I know slowing down isn't easy when everything seems to be moving at lightning speed. But what if I told you that those small moments of calm are what open the door for things to start falling into place? Before starting any task, stop for 2 minutes just to take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's the most important thing I can do right now? Mentally organize your steps, as if you're tidying up your mind's desk. This simple ritual won't just give you clarity. It'll help you act from a more relaxed state. And when you're relaxed, things flow better. It's like everything starts aligning with you. And stop wasting time on multitasking. I know it seems like juggling several things at once is the key to success. But here's the truth no one tells you. you won't do any of those tasks well. So what should you do? Pick one task just only and give it your full attention. It's like planting a seed. If you give it the care and time it needs, it will grow strong. And once you finish that task, move on to the next. You won't just get more done. You'll do it better. With calmness, you create the space for what you truly desire to manifest more clearly. As the writer and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience." And he couldn't be more right. Calmness doesn't just improve results. It lets you enjoy the process. Imagine how your life would change if, instead of racing against the clock, you chose to move forward calmly, savoring each step, no matter how much you have to do. If you take the time to do it well, everything starts to flow. And the best part? You'll feel more in control, more at peace, because when you do things calmly, you create space for what you truly desire to start taking shape. 5. Be grateful for what you have. Picture this: someone hands you a box and tells you that inside is everything you're missing in life, everything that would change your world if you had it. Excited, you open it, expecting to find something extraordinary, but all you see is a mirror. At first, you're confused. What does this mean? And then it hits you. You don't need more. You just need to see what you already have through new eyes. So often, we're so focused on what's next, what we're chasing, that we forget to appreciate where we are now. But here's the secret: when you start being grateful for what you already have, something shifts. Life feels lighter, stress fades, and, almost like magic, you begin to attract more good things. And speaking of seeing what we already have differently, let me tell you a story that perfectly illustrates this. It's about a farmer who, like many of us, couldn't stop thinking about all he was missing until he learned an unexpected lesson. Every day, he complained about how small and uncomfortable his house was. There's no space. I can't rest. Why does this have to be my life? He was convinced his life would be better if only he had a bigger, nicer house. One day, desperate, he went to the village wise man for advice. The wise man listened and then said, "Do this, bring your chickens inside the house." The farmer was surprised but obeyed. The next day, he returned complaining, "This is worse. I can't move with all these chickens." The wise man smiled and said, "Now bring the pig inside." Again, the farmer did as he was told. But by the third day, he came back furious. "This is a disaster. I can't take it anymore." The wise man then told him, "Now take the chickens and the pig out." When the farmer returned home, he realized something incredible. Suddenly, his small house felt spacious and peaceful. The size of the house hadn't changed, but his perspective had. For the first time, he appreciated what he had. Do you see? Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances. Everything might stay the same. But do you know what it does change? The way you see them. And when you shift your perspective, you start noticing opportunities that were hidden before. The magic of gratitude isn't just that it transforms your mood. It's like it activates a spell in your life. According to psychologist Robert Emmons, being grateful for what you have works like a magic wand, helping you see opportunities where before you only saw problems. This magic aligns you with what truly matters to you. And the best part? You don't need any special tricks to do it. Gratitude is the wand you've always had in your hands. Of course, this idea isn't new. Seneca once said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." For the Stoics, gratitude was a daily practice. They gave thanks for the small things, the bread they ate, the sunrise, or a meaningful conversation. Because when you train yourself to see the good, you stop wasting energy on what's missing. And by doing so, you open the door to manifesting even more good things in your life. So how can you practice gratitude? Don't worry. This isn't the usual write down 3 things every day advice. Let's try something different. Set aside a moment once a week to reflect. Find a quiet spot. Grab a piece of paper. And write down 3 things you're truly grateful for. But here's the trick, don't stop at writing them down. Ask yourself, how have these things contributed to what I want to achieve? For example, maybe a friend's support has kept you strong, or a recent challenge has shown you what really matters. Reflecting on this doesn't just help you relax. It starts aligning your mind with your goals. The more you focus on the good you already have, the easier it becomes to attract what you want. It's as if every small thing you're grateful for builds the path toward your goals, step by step, without you even realizing it. My friend, let me ask you, what are you grateful for today? Share it with us in the comments. This simple act could be your first step toward manifesting what you desire. Because when you're grateful, you're telling the universe, I'm ready to receive more. 6. Disconnect from the noise. Have you ever tried listening to your favorite song in the middle of a street full of honking cars, sirens, and shouting? No matter how hard you try, the noise drowns it out. Right. That's exactly how we live today. Every notification, every random conversation, every news alert bombards you like that background noise, making it impossible to focus on what really matters. Now let me ask you something. How do you expect to discover what you truly want if your mind is trapped in constant chaos? If you don't silence that noise, if you don't create space, you'll never hear the music inside you. Look around you. How much time do you spend watching what others are doing? Scrolling through social media, reading headlines that seem urgent. But, let's be honest, you'll forget by tomorrow. All that noise doesn't just steal your time. It fills your mind with things that don't bring you closer to what you truly desire. Think about it. Every notification, every comparison, is like adding another layer of dust to a window. How can you see clearly when everything is smudged? But if you disconnect for a moment, it's like wiping that window clean. Suddenly, you can see what's on the other side. You can see what truly matters, your ideas, your dreams, the opportunities that have always been there but went unnoticed. Epictetus said it centuries ago, the free man is the one who is not afraid to go to the end of his thoughts. And what do you need to get there? You need to turn off the external noise. You can't reflect on your deepest desires when your mind is trapped in a constant barrage of distractions. Silence is the place where your thoughts have the freedom to grow, transform into actions, and eventually into results. Let me ask you, my friend, how many times have you felt like your mind is so full that you can't even think straight? Be honest, you're tired of it, aren't you? All that noise doesn't just exhaust you. It pulls you further away from what really matters. So are you ready to do something that few dare to try? Let's turn off that external noise. But before we go further, I'll admit it won't be easy. But trust me, it'll be worth it. So here's what I suggest. Try a no notification day. Don't worry. I'm not asking you to turn off your phone all day. What do I mean? Simply set specific times to check messages. For example, only check notifications at 9 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening. The rest of the time, ignore them. Believe me, I tried it myself, and I noticed the difference immediately. Suddenly, I had time to focus on my projects, stick to my rituals, and, most importantly, be present. Another idea, spend time in nature. It doesn't have to be an epic hike. It could be a nearby park or your own backyard. Take 10 minutes to listen to the sounds around you, the wind, the birds, even the crunch of leaves underfoot. But no cheating, leave your headphones at home. It's just you, your mind, and nature. You'll notice something amazing. It's as if nature reminds you of a slower, more authentic rhythm that's always been there for you. When you turn off the noise, it's like being a firefighter facing a blaze. First, you need to put out the flames of chaos and distraction. Only then can you see clearly what lies beneath. And in that moment, when everything is calm, your mind becomes fertile ground where ideas and desires can bloom. It's in this space of stillness that you can truly focus on what you want and start manifesting it. Step by step, without the flames of noise pulling you off course. 7. Get a good night's rest. Have you ever tried using your phone when it's down to 10% battery? Everything slows down. Apps stop responding. And if you don't charge it soon, it shuts off completely. Now think about this. How often do you live your life with your body and mind running at 10%? Imagine what your days would look like if you started every morning with your battery at 100%. My friend, you might be thinking, I don't have time to rest, or I need to use this time to get things done. But what if I told you that mindset is doing more harm than good and pulling you further away from the life you want to create? Here's the truth no one tells you. Rest isn't wasting time. It's the best investment you can make in yourself. It's the time when your mind and body prepare to shine the next day. And believe it or not, rest isn't just collapsing into bed after an exhausting day. It's about creating a space where your body and mind can truly regenerate and recharge. Think of it like maintaining your car. If you don't change the oil, tune the engine, or check the brakes, it might keep running for a while, but eventually it'll break down. Your body and mind are the same, like a car. They need a nightly checkup. When you rest well, you don't just feel better. You think better, make better decisions, and put yourself in a much clearer position to manifest what you truly desire. And no, this isn't just a metaphor. Science backs it up. At night, while you sleep, your brain goes into deep cleaning mode. Did you know that while you rest, a tiny cleaning crew works overtime in your head? It's true. A study from the Center for Neuroscience at the University of Rochester found that during sleep, your brain removes toxins built up during the day. It's like sweeping away worries and stress, leaving everything ready for a fresh start. When you sleep well, you wake up as if you've hit the reset button, clear-headed, focused, and ready to tackle what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, as a great emperor, understood this perfectly. He said, "Even the soul needs rest to be effective." Despite the immense responsibilities on his shoulders, he knew he couldn't give his best without time to recover. For him, rest wasn't a luxury. It was a strategy. He reflected at the end of each day, disconnecting from the worries of leadership. If an emperor could find time to rest, why can't you? I get it, you're probably thinking, resting well sounds great, but with work, worries, and family, how am I supposed to make it happen? Don't worry. I've got a simple nighttime ritual you can start today to make rest a reality. First, turn off all screens at least 30 minutes before beddies, even your phone. Instead, pick up a book, something relaxing that won't overstimulate you, like a light novel or something inspiring. Second, write your intentions for the next day in a notebook. For example, tomorrow, I'll dedicate an hour to that project I'm excited about. Or, I'll truly listen in every conversation. This not only relaxes you, but also aligns your mind with what you want to achieve. Finally, spend 5 minutes breathing deeply as you settle into bed. Nothing complicated. Just inhale and exhale slowly, so the next time you think of sleep as just a basic necessity. Remember this, even the brightest stars need the darkness to shine, and you are no exception. 8. Embrace your failures. My friend, let me tell you something you might not want to hear. Failure is inevitable. Think of your failures as the first strokes on a blank canvas. At first, they might look like meaningless smudges, but with every additional stroke, the picture starts to take shape. And here's the good news, it's not the end of the world. It's just the beginning of something better. Did you know that many of the greatest inventions in history began as mistakes? Let me share a story about one you probably use almost every day. In the 1970s, a scientist named Spencer Silver was working on creating a super strong adhesive for his company, 3M. But instead, he ended up with the exact opposite, a weak adhesive that barely stuck to surfaces. What seemed like a failure was shelved for years. Then, one of his colleagues, Art Fry, had a brilliant idea. He used that weak adhesive to create notes that could stick. and peel off easily without leaving marks. The result? The post-it. Yes, you heard that right, the post-it. What seems indispensable today for organizing our lives was actually the result of a failure. Isn't that incredible? Do you see where I'm going with this? It's not about avoiding failure. It's about how you face it. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your mistakes don't define who you are, but they can shape where you're going if you use them as tools. Every stumble can become a step towards something far greater. Listen, failures might feel like enormous walls, but they're actually doors waiting to be opened. So how do you open them? The first and most important thing is to ease up on yourself. Sometimes we demand perfection, and that leads to a distorted view of our own mistakes. Think about it. How many opportunities have you avoided because you were afraid to fail? When you allow yourself to fail, you also allow yourself to learn. It's like a rehearsal. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time, because every attempt brings you closer to the result you're seeking. Second, use what you learn from your mistakes as a staircase. Every failure is a step that takes you higher, but only if you choose to climb it. Did you mess something up? Great. Ask yourself, what can I take from this? What will I do differently next time? Every lesson makes you stronger, wiser, and better prepared for what's ahead. It's a process, and every step counts. Finally, focus on the present. Too often, we get stuck in our past mistakes, as if they're chains we can't break free from. But here's the thing, what you did before doesn't define what you'll do now. You have new tools, new knowledge, and a new opportunity in front of you. Ask yourself, what can I do today to prove to myself that I've grown? With every new attempt, you're building something better. Do you see how everything starts to come together when you change how you view your failures? It's not about erasing them. It's about using them to your advantage. When you do this, you'll notice something interesting. You relax. You no longer feel that constant pressure to be perfect. And in that state of calm, things start to flow naturally. It's as if the path that once seemed full of obstacles begins to clear. And the more relaxed you are, the easier it becomes to attract what you truly desire. Because failures aren't the end. They're the spark that ignites something new. So what masterpiece could you create if you stopped fearing those first strokes? Embrace your failures, because each one is a step toward the complete picture of the life you truly want to create. 9. Imagine it and make it real. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself in a movie theater. The lights dim. The projector hums to life, and something unexpected appears on the screen. It's you. You're the main character in the film. But this isn't just any movie. It's the story of your life, exactly as you've always dreamed it. Everything is there, your goals achieved, the people who inspire you, the moments that make your heart race. You can see every detail clearly, as if it's already happening. Now, my friend, here's the big question. What would this movie look like if you were the director? Believe me, visualization isn't just a nice exercise. It's a powerful tool. It's like writing the script for that movie before the cameras even start rolling. When you take the time to vividly imagine what you want, you're not just dreaming. You're training your mind to make it real. Because everything you build outwardly begins within. Think about it. If you don't have a clear idea of what you want, how can you expect to get there? As Seneca said, no wind is favorable for the sailor who doesn't know where he's going. In other words, you need a direction, a clear vision, to guide you. But here's the key, it's not enough to just imagine it. You have to feel it, as if it's already happening. That's the magic of this exercise. It helps you relax, align with your desires, and start moving toward them with confidence. Did you know that your brain doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what actually happens? That's what psychologist and author Joe Dispenza explains. When you visualize something in detail, your mind interprets it as if it's real. It's like creating an invisible blueprint for what you wanted to build. And this changes everything. It changes how you move through the world. Your energy, your decisions, and even the opportunities that come your way begin to align with that vision. It's like tuning an instrument. Suddenly, everything starts to sound the way it should. I'm sure this idea has you intrigued and ready to try it out. So how can you make it part of your life? First, spend 5 minutes a day closing your eyes and visualizing your let me guess. Lately, it feels like stress is winning the battle, doesn't it? You're trying to control every detail, every outcome. But the harder you push, the more it seems like everything falls apart. Am I right? Now, let me ask you something. What if, instead of holding on tightly, you learn to release your grip, to let go? Because, my friend, that's where the real power lies, in the ability to relinquish control, to surrender to the flow of life. In this video, I'm going to share something that could fundamentally alter your perspective, how to manifest what you truly desire without experiencing the debilitating effects of burnout. Yes, it's possible. And no, I'm not talking about magical thinking or passively awaiting favorable circumstances. Today, you're going to discover powerful principles, inspired by the enduring wisdom of Stoic philosophy, that will teach you how to alleviate stress, regain control of your life, and, most importantly, attract the things you've always yearned for. I promise you, the process isn't what you anticipate, but that's precisely why it proves so effective. Are you ready to unlock the inherent power that resides within you? Before we delve further, I want you to momentarily consider a different perspective, to step into someone else's shoes. Let me tell you a story that might resonate deeply. Javier was a top executivion of those individuals who appear to have complete mastery over their lives, a meticulously planned schedule, significant decisions to make daily, and the constant pressure to avoid failure. But at what personal cost? One day, during a critical presentation to his team, an unexpected event occurred. His body, overwhelmed by the relentless pressure, quite literally signaled that it had reached its limit. Out of nowhere, a debilitating panic attack rendered him unable to move or speak. He was completely immobilized. Javier, the man who always possessed an answer, felt acutely vulnerable for the first time in years. In that vulnerable moment of paralysis, a profound question arose within him. What am I doing with my life? On a friend's suggestion, he took an unprecedented step. He disconnected completely from the demands of his high-pressure existence. He retreated to a secluded mountain cabin. No emails, no phone calls, just the profound solace of silence and solitude. Initially, his mind raced uncontrollably. What's happening at the office? What will others think? But gradually, as he immersed himself in the tranquil beauty of nature, walking the trails and listening to the whisper of the wind through the trees, a subtle shift began to occur within him. He recalled a profoundly insightful phrase from the writings of Marcus Aurelius: accept everything that happens, even if it's different from what you expected. And then, as if a heavy veil had been lifted, clarity dawned. Javier realized that he didn't need to exert such iron-fisted control over every aspect of his life for things to work out favorably. Upon returning to the city, he consciously refrained from filling every available moment of his schedule with meetings and obligations. So how did he utilize this newfound free time? He prioritized what truly mattered: time for introspection, self-care, and nurturing his relationships with loved ones. And here's the most astonishing outcome. When he released his desperate need for absolute control, things didn't collapse. Instead, they flourished and improved. The atmosphere at his workplace became more positive. Results soared. And, for the first time in a long time, he experienced a deep sense of inner peace and contentment. Now, let me ask you, how many times have you felt the same crushing weight as Javier? Burdened by a responsibility that seems insurmountable, a pressure that feels impossible to release? Perhaps today marks the day to declare enough and discover the transformative power of allowing calmness to work its magic in your life. Are you prepared to give it a try? Let's begin. 1. Let go and relax. Imagine you're holding a handful of sand at the beach. You clench it tightly in your fist. Initially, you feel a sense of control, but the tighter you squeeze, the faster the sand slips through your fingers. Sound familiar? Doesn't it reflect the nature of life itself? When you attempt to control every aspect of your existence, the harder you strive to dominate every minuscule detail, the more rapidly everything seems to unravel. You become trapped in a self-defeating cycle that leaves you depleted, frustrated, and further removed from your true aspiration. Does this resonate with your experiences? Let's be honest, clinging to the illusion of constant control is ultimately unproductive. It's akin to attempting to drive a vehicle with the emergency brake engaged. What is the inevitable outcome? You remain completely immobile. All you achieve is wasted energy and persistent stagnation. But what happens when you finally release that brake? Precisely, you move forward with greater ease and less exertion. And that is exactly the approach you need to adopt in life, to let go, to release your grip on the need for total control. Now, don't misunderstand. Letting go doesn't equate to surrendering or giving up. It signifies placing your trust in the unfolding process of life. And when you you cease your relentless, desperate clinging, something remarkable transpires. Things begin to fall into place organically, effortlessly. Picture this, you're on a family vacation. You've meticulously planned every detail, precise departure times, dining locations, even meticulously organized activities to keep the children engaged. But, inevitably, unforeseen circumstances arise. You encounter unexpected traffic delays, a sudden downpour, and your children decide that this is the opportune moment to engage in a full-blown tantrum. How do you respond? Do you succumb to frustration and anger because the universe isn't adhering to your meticulously crafted itinerary? Or do you accept that certain events are beyond your capacity to control? Because, my friend, that's the reality of life. You lack control over traffic congestion, inclement weather, or your children's emotional outbursts. But you do possess the power to choose your response to these events. And this is where the profound wisdom of Stoicism reveals its transformative power. Marcus Aurelius, in his insightful meditations, imparts a timeless lesson: accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart. It's as if he's advising, stop expending precious energy pressing the gas pedal while the handbrake remains engaged. Release the brake, and you'll progress more smoothly, with far less resistance. Because, ultimately, what truly matters more, that every detail unfolds perfectly according to plan, or that you genuinely savor the journey itself. I understand, the concept of letting go might sound deceptively simple, but rest assured, I'm here to provide guidance and support. Let me share 3 straightforward steps you can begin practicing today. Not only will these practices assist you in releasing your grip on control, but they will also prepare you to relax and attract the things you deeply desire. First, transcribe your anxieties and worries onto a piece of paper. Don't overthink it. Simply jot down something along the lines of, I'm attempting to exert control over the situation, but I acknowledge my limitations. Then, crumple up that paper and discard it literally. Why? Because this act symbolically represents communicating to your mind, this no longer weighs upon me. Second, utilize the red light pause. Whenever something deviates from your expectations, take a few moments to breathe deeply. Inhale to a count of 4. Hold your breath briefly, and exhale slowly to a count of 6. This serves as your daily reminder that sometimes pausing, taking a moment to breathe and reflect, is the only effective path forward. Third, incorporate periods of intentional inactivity into your schedule. Nothing at all, even if it's just 15 minutes. What activities might you engage in during this time? You could listen to calming music, gaze contemplatively at the sky, or simply bask in the peaceful silence. It is during these moments of quiet reflection that your most inspired ideas, and deepest desires will find the space to emerge into your conscious awareness. When you cease attempting to micromanage every second of your day, you cultivate clarity of thought and create the conditions for manifesting your deepest aspiration. And here's the remarkable outcome when you learn the art of letting go. Life doesn't collapse as you might have feared. On the contrary, it begins to take shape organically, effortlessly. This isn't magic. It's the result of enhanced mental clarity. When you stop wasting energy on aspects you cannot change, you free up precious mental and emotional resources for what truly matters. Now consider this. What if, starting today, you chose to let go even just slightly? Not everything at once, but just a single small step. Stop clinging to the sand. Relax your grip and allow life to flow naturally. Trust me, genuine transformation begins the moment you decide to relinquish your need for absolute control. 2. Start your day strong. Have you ever pondered why some days unfold effortlessly, as if the universe is conspiring in your favor, while others feel like an arduous uphill battle? It's not a matter of mystical forces or sheer luck. Do you know the underlying factor? It's how you spend the initial hours of your morning. This is the period when you set the tone for your entire day. Analogous to tuning a musical instrument before a concert. Imagine stepping onto a stage without meticulously adjusting your instrument strings. The performance would likely be disastrous. But if you take the time to carefully tune each string, everything flows harmoniously, doesn't it? Every note resonates perfectly. Each chord fits flawlessly. That's the essence of this principle. How you begin your day not only shapes your emotional state, but also influences how every subsequent event will resonate throughout the day. Doesn't that seem worth pursuing? Let me share a personal anecdote to illustrate my point. One morning, instead of my usual habit of reaching for my phone immediately upon waking, I decided to experiment with a different approach. I sat quietly for a few minutes, took several slow, deep breaths, and consciously considered how I wanted my day to unfold. Then, instead of allowing notifications to dictate my mood, I put on an upbeat, inspiring songoni of those tracks that energizes you no matter your state. As I prepared my coffee, I found myself spontaneously dancing in the kitchen. I won't deny it, it felt a bit unusual at first. But do you know what transpired? That day exceeded my expectations in every way. Even minor frustrations that usually irritate me seemed insignificant. It was as if that initial burst of positive energy set the stage for a cascade of positive outcomes throughout my day. Do you know who else recognized the power of this practice? Seneca, the renowned Stoic philosopher. He wisely observed that every new day is a gift, a blank check we should make the most of. He initiated his mornings with periods of reflection, writing, and aligning his thoughts with his core values and priorities. His approach wasn't about reacting to external events, but about proactively preparing to face whatever the day might bring. And you can cultivate the same empowering practice. Dedicate those early hours to focusing your energy and setting a positive, productive tone for the day ahead. So how can you transform your mornings? Let me offer a suggestion before even glancing at your phone. Sit quietly for a few moments and take several slow, deep breaths. Inhale to a count of 4. Hold for a couple of seconds, and exhale slowly to a count of 6. Repeat this 3 times. You'll be astonished by the difference it makes. It's like giving your body and mind a gentle, intentional start to the day. Next, find something that makes your mornings special and enjoyable. For me, it's music. Why not give it a try? Play a song that inspires you and that makes you want to move your body. And yes, even if it seems a bit silly, dance for a few minutes. It doesn't matter if you're alone in your kitchen or getting ready in front of the mirror. You might even laugh at yourself, and that's perfectly fine. No one needs to witness your impromptu dance party. But trust me, that burst of positive energy can significantly alter your overall mood. Here's another suggestion before leaving your home. Take a moment to reflect upon a single aspiration you hope to achieve that day. It doesn't need to be a monumental goal. Perhaps it's as simple as savoring your lunch without rushing, or navigating a supermarket queue efficiently. These seemingly minor intentions not only bring clarity, but also serve as the initial steps toward manifesting your deepest desires. So tell me, how do you envision your mornings from this point forward? Do you aspire to begin your day in chaos, allowing the day to dictate your actions and mood? Or do you desire to take proactive control, create your own moment of intentional focus, and set a positive tone for a day that flows in the direction you intend? My friend, you don't require a flawless routine or the need to awaken at dawn. You simply need to start your day strong, with calm intentionality. Remember, every morning represents a fresh opportunity, and the way you choose to approach it can be the catalyst for everything you've ever desired in your life. Before we proceed, if you're finding this content valuable, please consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to access unique benefits, and share your thoughts in the comments section regarding the steps you're willing to take to relax and manifest your deepest desires. We're eager to embark on this journey of growth and self-discovery together. 3. Your mind. Your best ally. Consider your mind to be a complex jigsaw puzzle. When all the pieces are scattered and disarranged, it's impossible to discern the complete picture. Everything feels chaotic and overwhelming. But what happens when you take the time to organize those pieces? You group them by color, by shape, and suddenly something magical occurs. The overall picture begins to emerge, taking shape before your eyes. My friend, that's precisely how your mind functions. If it's cluttered with disorganized thoughts, persistent worries, and unrelenting stress, what can you truly perceive with clarity? Nothing. But when you provide your mind with calm and space, what a relief. That's when everything begins to fall into place. To make sense, a few years ago, a pilot named Chesley Sullenberger, better known as Sully, faced a situation most people would consider a nightmare scenario. Imagine this: you're in command of a commercial airliner carrying over 150 passengers. Everything is proceeding smoothly until the unthinkable occurs. Both engines fail. After striking a flock of birds, the plane loses power, and all you see ahead is a densely populated city and an icy river. What would most of us likely do in such a crisis? Panic, undoubtedly. But Sully responded differently. He closed his eyes for a fleeting moment and took a deep breath. In his mind, there was no room for chaos. He clearly visualized the necessary actions, landing the plane safely on the Hudson River without causing a catastrophic accident. Was he entirely certain of success? Absolutely not. But he trusted his extensive experience, his highly trained team, and, most importantly, his capacity to remain calm and focused under immense pressure. He effectively manifested a successful outcome through his mental fortitude and strategic thinking. And do you know what happened? Amid the blaring alarms and the palpable fear of the passengers, Sully spoke with a calm, assured voice, braced for impact. It wasn't merely a technical announcement. It was a powerful declaration of confidence that instilled hope and reassurance amidst the crisis. He manifested the very thing his passengers needed most at that desperate moment: the hope that things would turn out all right. Thanks to his calm, focused mind, Sully achieved the extraordinary. He successfully landed the plane on the river, saving the lives of everyone on board. Epictetus was correct when he stated, "What disturbs us is not what happens, but our thoughts about it." Sully couldn't control the mechanical failure of the engines or undo the collision with the birds, but he could and did control his mind. He transformed a chaotic, life-threatening situation into an opportunity to act with remarkable clarity and save countless lives. And that's the invaluable lesson we can glean from Sully's heroic actions. When you choose to cultivate a calm, focused mind, you cease perceiving only problems and begin to recognize and implement solutions. So how can you train your mind to be your most valuable ally? You must learn to organize the disparate pieces of your mental puzzle. Dedicate 5 minutes each day to reflecting upon the worries and anxieties that clutter your mind. those scattered fragments of your mental landscape. But here's the crucial strategy. Don't attempt to resolve everything simultaneously. How can you accomplish this without feeling overwhelmed? Imagine you're stressed about 3 concurrent concerns: an impending work deadline, a recent argument with a friend, and worries about managing your finances this month. Now, visualize these worries as individual puzzle pieces. Take those 5 minutes to thoughtfully organize them. For instance, place the work project in one designated reason thing you can immediately begin addressing, perhaps marked in yellow to signify action. The argument with your friend can be placed in another reame orange. You recognize that this is something you can resolve later with a phone call or a message. And your financial concerns? Place them in a separate, red-marked area and set them aside in a future pieces category to address when you have time to review your budget. Suddenly, by separating these disparate elements and assigning them a designated space, you gain immediate clarity. Everything is no longer a jumbled, overwhelming mass, and not every item is vying for your immediate attention. You might not solve the entire puzzle at that moment, but something far more significant occurs. You no longer experience that pervasive sense of overwhelming chaos. Through this simple act of organization, your mind feels lighter, as if you're already making progress on something that once seemed insurmountable. Worth trying. Wouldn't you agree? Remember, when your mind is calm and organized, you not only feel better, but you also open yourself up to possibilities that once seemed unattainable. Because a clear, focused mind possesses the power to manifest your deepest desires. Perhaps it's time to stop attempting to control every aspect of your life and begin to trust in the strength and resilience that already resides within you. 4. Do things with calm. Have you observed this pattern? Rushing is like cooking in a hot pan without any oil. It simply burns everything faster. And the worst part? The final product is never what you intended. Let me be clear, calmness isn't synonymous with slowness. It's a strategic approach. It's about performing tasks at a pace that fosters smooth execution and optimal results. Imagine yourself preparing a special dinner. You've invited friends over, and everything is meticulously planned. But you arrive home late and begin chopping vegetables frantically. In a rush, the vegetables are unevenly sliced. The sauce spills everywhere. And, to make matters worse, the pasta overcooks because your attention is divided. When you finally serve the dish, it's nothing like you envisioned. Sound familiar? Now, consider the opposite scenario. You allow yourself ample time. You chop the vegetables carefully, savoring the process. You taste the sauce as it simmers, making adjustments to enhance the flavors. The pasta cooks perfectly, reaching that ideal al dente texture. And what is the outcome? Not only is the dish delicious, but you also genuinely enjoyed the entire cooking experience. Do you believe that's merely a coincidence? It's not. Rushing doesn't only ruin culinary creations, it sabotages opportunities. And frequently, we rush because we perceive others as accomplishing more, as if life were a competitive race. But listen closely. My friend, everyone possesses their own unique rhythm, their own pace. Comparing your progress to someone else's is futile, akin to attempting to accelerate a plant's growth simply by staring at it. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, understood this principle profoundly. He wisely observed, "The mind is like water. When it's calm, it reflects the world clearly." As emperor, he bore an immense weight of responsibility, yet he didn't attempt to tackle everything simultaneously. He engaged in thoughtful reflection, prioritized tasks strategically, and acted with deliberate calmness. Even during times of crisis, he maintained a steady, focused mind to enable him to make sound, well-considered decisions. His approach wasn't about increased speed, but about achieving superior quality. I understand that slowing down might seem challenging when everything appears to be moving at breakneck speed. But what if I told you that those seemingly insignificant moments of calm are precisely what unlock the potential for things to begin falling into place organically? Before beginning any task, pause for 2 minutes just to take a deep, calming breath and ask yourself, what's the single most important thing I can do right now? Mentally organize your approach, as if you were tidying up your mental workspace. This simple ritual not only cultivates clarity, but also helps you approach tasks from a more relaxed, centered state. And when you're relaxed, everything flows more smoothly, more effortlessly. It's as if everything begins to align with your intentions and eliminate the unproductive practice of multitasking. I know it might seem as though juggling multiple tasks simultaneously is essential for success. But here's the inconvenient truth that no one likes to admit. You won't perform any of those tasks to the best of your ability. What's the solution? Choose a single task just only and devote your complete, undivided attention to it. It's like planting a seed. If you provide it with the necessary care and time, it will grow strong and flourish. And once you've completed that task, move on to the next. You'll not only accomplish more, but you'll do so with significantly higher quality. By cultivating calmness, you create the necessary space for what you truly desire to manifest with greater clarity and impact. As the writer and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson astutely observed, adopt the pace of nature, her secret is patience. And he couldn't have been more accurate. Calmness doesn't merely enhance outcomes. It allows you to genuinely appreciate and enjoy the process. Imagine the transformative effect on your life if, instead of racing relentlessly against the clock, you chose to move forward calmly, savoring each step, regardless of the workload. If you take the time to do things well, everything begins to flow more naturally, more smoothly, and the most rewarding aspect, you'll feel more in control, more at peace with yourself. Because when you approach tasks with calmness and intentionality, you create the space for your deepest desires to begin taking shape, manifesting into reality. 5. Be grateful for what you have. Envision this. Someone presents you with a box and informs you that it contains everything you're lacking in life. Everything that would dramatically alter your existence if you possessed it. Excited, you eagerly open it, anticipating something extraordinary. But all you see is a mirror. Initially, you're bewildered. What does this mean? And then it dawns on you, you don't require more. You simply need to perceive what you already possess with renewed appreciation and gratitude. Frequently, we're so fixated on what's next, on the things we're pursuing, that we neglect to acknowledge and appreciate our current circumstances. But here's the profound secret. When you cultivate a spirit of gratitude for what you already have, a subtle yet significant shift occurs within you. Life feels lighter, stress diminishes, and, almost magically, you begin to attract more positive experiences into your life. And speaking of altering one's perspective, let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this point. It concerns a farmer who, like many of us, couldn't stop focusing on his perceived lack of certain things until he learned a valuable lesson. Every day, he lamented the small size and discomfort of his dwelling. There's not enough space. I can't relax properly. Why does this have to be my life? He was convinced that his life would be infinitely better if only he had a larger, more luxurious home. One day, feeling desperate, he sought advice from the village's wise man. The wise man listened attentively and then offered this simple instruction: do this. Bring your chickens into your house. The farmer was taken aback but complied. The next day, he returned, complaining even more vehemently. This is even worse. I can't move around with all these chickens. The wise man smiled serenely and said, now, bring the pig inside as well. Again, the farmer obeyed. But by the third day, he returned, furious and exasperated. This is an absolute disaster. I can't endure this any longer. The wise man then instructed him, now, take the chickens and the pig back outside. When the farmer returned to his home, he experienced an epiphany. Suddenly, his small house felt spacious and tranquil. The physical dimensions of his house hadn't changed, But his perspective had undergone a radical transformation. For the first time, he genuinely appreciated the modest comfort of his dwelling. Do you see the profound lesson? Gratitude doesn't alter your external circumstances. Everything might remain exactly as it is. But do you know what it does change? Your perception of those circumstances. And when you shift your perspective, you begin to notice opportunities that were previously hidden from view. The magic of gratitude isn't merely its ability to improve your emotional state. It's as if it activates a powerful spell in your life. According to psychologist Robert Emmons, expressing gratitude for what you already have acts like a magic wand, helping you perceive opportunities where before you only saw problems. This mindset aligns you with what truly matters to you. And the most remarkable aspect, you don't need any special techniques or tools. Gratitude is the inherent power you've always possessed. Of course, this principle isn't new. Seneca once eloquently stated, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." For the Stoics, gratitude was a daily practice, an integral part of their lives. They expressed thanks for seemingly small things, the bread they ate, the rising sun, or a meaningful conversation. Because when you train yourself to focus on the positive aspects of your life, you stop wasting precious energy dwelling on what's lacking. And by doing so, you create the space to manifest even more positive experiences into your life. So how can you cultivate a daily practice of gratitude? Don't worry. This isn't the typical advice of writing down 3 things every day. Let's try a different approach. Set aside a few moments once a week for reflection. Find a peaceful, quiet spot. Take out a piece of paper and write down 3 things you're genuinely grateful for. But here's the key, don't simply list them. Ask yourself, how have these things contributed to my progress toward my goals? For example, perhaps a friend's support has helped you persevere, or a recent challenge has illuminated what truly matters to you. Reflecting on these aspects doesn't only promote relaxation, it begins to align your mind with your aspiration. The more you focus on the positive aspects of your life, the easier it becomes to attract what you desire. It's as if each small thing you're grateful for constructs a pathway toward your goals, step by step, often without your conscious awareness. My friend, let me ask you, what are you genuinely grateful for today? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. This simple act could be your first step toward manifesting what you deeply desire. Because when you express gratitude, you're essentially communicating to the universe, I'm ready to receive more. 6. Disconnect from the noise. Have you ever attempted to listen to your favorite song amidst the cacophony of a bustling street, filled with honking cars, wailing sirens, and shouting pedestrians? No matter how hard you try, the incessant noise drowns out the music, doesn't it? That's precisely how many of us live our lives today. Every notification, every random conversation, every news alert bombards us incessantly, rendering it virtually impossible to focus on what truly matters. Now let me ask you, how do you expect to discover your deepest aspiration if your mind is perpetually trapped in a state of unrelenting chaos? If you don't quiet the external noise, if you don't create space for stillness and reflection, you'll never hear the inner music, the voice of your true self. Observe your surroundings. How much time do you spend observing the seemingly perfect lives portrayed on social media, scrolling endlessly through curated content, reading headlines that appear urgent? Yet, let's be honest, you'll likely forget about them by tomorrow. All that incessant noise doesn't just steal your time. It pollutes your mind with information that doesn't bring you any closer to your true aspiration. Consider this: every notification, every comparison to others, is like adding another layer of dust to a window pane. How can you expect to see clearly when your vision is obscured by so much unnecessary clutter? But if you pause, if you disconnect for even a few moments, it's like wiping that window clean. Suddenly, you can see clearly what lies beyond. You can perceive what truly matters: your own ideas, your dreams, the opportunities that have always been present but remained unnoticed amidst the constant barrage of distractions. Epictetus stated centuries ago, "The free man is the one who is not afraid to go to the end of his thoughts." And what is necessary to reach that point of self-discovery? You must silence the external noise. You cannot engage in meaningful introspection and identify your deepest desires when your mind is trapped in a constant whirlwind of distractions. Silence is the fertile ground where your thoughts are given the freedom to grow, to transform into actions, and ultimately, to manifest tangible results. Let me ask you, my friend, how many times have you felt that your mind is so overwhelmed by external stimuli that clear thinking is impossible? Be honest, you're tired of it, aren't you? All that incessant noise not only exhausts you, it pulls you further away from what truly matters. So are you prepared to undertake a practice that few dare to attempt? Let's turn off that external noise together. But before we proceed, I'll admit, it won't be easy. But trust me, the rewards will be well worth the effort. Therefore, I suggest this: try a no notification day. Don't worry, I'm not suggesting you completely switch off your phone all day long. What I mean is this: simply designate specific times to check messages and notifications. For example, only check your notifications at 9 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. during the remaining hours. Simply ignore them. Believe me, I've tried this myself, and I immediately noticed a profound difference. Suddenly, I had the time and mental space to focus on my projects, to adhere to my daily rituals, and, most importantly, to be fully present in the moment. Another effective strategy: spend some time in nature. It doesn't need to be a strenuous hike. It could be a short walk in a nearby park or even your own backyard. Take 10 minutes to listen attentively to the sounds around you, the gentle rustling of the wind, the songs of the birds, even the quiet crunch of leaves beneath your feet. And resist the temptation: leave your headphones at home. It's just you, your mind, and the restorative power of nature. You'll notice something remarkable. It's as if nature itself reminds you of a slower, more authentic rhythm that has always been available to you. When you deliberately turn off the external noise, it's like being a firefighter facing a raging blaze. First, you must extinguish the flames of chaos and distraction. Only then can you clearly discern what lies beneath the surface, the potential for growth and transformation. And in that moment of stillness and calm, your mind becomes a fertile ground where ideas and aspiration can flourish and blossom. It's within this space of tranquil quietude that you can truly focus on what you deeply want to achieve and begin manifesting it step by step, without the distractions of external noise pulling you off course. 7. Get a good night's rest. Have you ever attempted to use your phone when its battery is critically low? At 10%, everything slows down. Apps become unresponsive. And if you don't charge it soon, it will shut down completely. Now consider this: how often do you live your life operating at only 10% of your mental and physical capacity? Imagine the transformative impact on your days if you began each morning with your energy levels fully replenished, at 100%. My friend, you might be thinking, "I simply don't have the time to rest," or "I need to use this time to be productive." But what if I were to tell you that this very mindset is causing more harm than good? That it's actively preventing you from creating the life you truly desire? Here's the inconvenient truth that no one likes to acknowledge: rest isn't a waste of time. It's the most valuable investment you can make in yourself. It's the crucial period when your mind and body prepare to shine brightly the following day. And believe it or not, rest isn't simply collapsing into bed after a long, exhausting day. It's about creating a conducive environment where your body and mind can fully regenerate and recharge. Think of it like maintaining your vehicle. If you neglect to change the oil, tune the engine, or check the brakes, it might continue running for a while, but eventually, it will break down completely. Your body and mind are no different. They require regular maintenance and rest. Just like any well-maintained machine, when you rest properly, you don't simply feel better. You think more clearly, make better decisions, and position yourself far more effectively to manifest what you truly desire. And no, this isn't just a metaphorical comparison. Scientific research supports this claim. During the hours of sleep, your brain engages in a deep cleaning process. Did you know that while you rest, a tiny cleaning crew works diligently in your brain, clearing away toxins and cellular debris? It's absolutely true. A study conducted by the Center for Neuroscience at the University of Rochester revealed that during sleep, your brain removes harmful toxins accumulated throughout the day. It's as if your brain is systematically sweeping away worries and stress, preparing itself for a fresh start. When you sleep well, you awaken feeling as if you've hit a reset button, clear-headed, focused, and ready to address what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius, even as a powerful emperor, fully understood this principle. He wisely observed, "Even the soul needs rest to be effective." Despite his immense responsibilities, he recognized that he couldn't perform at his best without adequate time for rest and recovery. For him, rest wasn't a luxury. It was an essential strategy for optimal performance. He consistently engaged in periods of reflection at the end of each day, consciously disconnecting from the anxieties of leadership. If an emperor could find the time to prioritize rest, why can't you? I understand, you're likely thinking. Resting well sounds wonderful, but with work, worries, and family responsibilities, how am I supposed to make it happen? Don't worry. I have a simple nighttime ritual you can begin today to make rest a practical reality. First, turn off all screens at least 30 minutes before bedtime eyes, even your phone. Instead, pick up a book, something relaxing and calming that won't overstimulate your mind, such as a light novel or an inspirational text. Second, write down your intentions for the following day in a notebook. For example, tomorrow, I'll dedicate an hour to that project I'm excited about. Or, I'll actively listen attentively in every conversation. This practice not only relaxes you, but also aligns your mind with what you intend to achieve. Finally, spend 5 minutes engaging in slow, deep breathing as you settle into bed. Nothing complicated. Simply inhale and exhale slowly, deeply, and rhythmically. So the next time you consider sleep to be merely a fundamental necessity, remember this: even the brightest stars require the darkness to shine with exceptional brilliance. And you, my friend, are no exception. 8. Embrace your failures. My friend, let me share something you might not want to hear. Failure is inevitable. It's an integral part of the human experience, a stepping stone towards growth and progress. Think of your failures as the initial brushstrokes on a blank canvas. At first, they might appear as meaningless smudges, but with each additional stroke, the overall picture gradually begins to take shape. And here's the encouraging news: failure isn't the end of the world. It's simply the beginning of something potentially far better. Did you know that many of history's greatest inventions were born out of mistakes, out of perceived failures? Let me share a story about one invention you probably use almost daily. In the 1970s, a scientist named Spencer Silver was working on creating a super strong adhesive for his company, 3M. But instead, he unexpectedly produced the exact opposite, a weak adhesive that barely stuck to surfaces. This apparent failure was shelved for years. Then, one of his colleagues, Art Fry, had a brilliant insight. He utilized this weak adhesive to create notes that could easily stick to and peel off surfaces without leaving any residue. The result? The Post-it note. Yes, you heard correctly, the Post-it note, a seemingly indispensable organizational tool in modern life, was actually the byproduct of an initial, seemingly failed experiment. Isn't that remarkable? Do you see the point I'm making? It's not about avoiding failure. It's about how you choose to perceive and respond to it.